Hi, my name is Hayden Janner, and this is my video discussion board 1. So, there are many technological advancements that influenced art throughout the years, and these things range from physical advancements like tools to more intellectual advancements like new ideas. But there are 3 that kind of really stuck out to me and that I kind of liked. So, the first one that I want to talk about is Japanism, and how its influence was able to affect art during the time it was popular in the late 1800s to early 1900s. Japanese aesthetics became something that was fashionable for people whenever Japan and Europe started trading. Japanism's use of unconventional cropping gave the artwork a flattening effect that would become central to modernist paintings. This style also used simplified palettes, unusual viewpoints, and minimalistic arrangements while keeping the painting realistic, which allowed for the artist to play with the composition of their art, which I think is pretty cool. An example would be the portrait of Émile Zola by Edouard Monet. This painting was created to have objects and symbols in it that could reflect the character of Émile, who's depicted in the painting, as well as the artist, Edouard, and kind of how they were similar. This, plus the use of flattened and simplified shapes, is able to tell a story in a way that allows the viewer to feel more connected to the art, as well as creating a new style. The second advancement that stuck out to me was that of the arts and crafts movement. The Industrial Revolution kind of led artists' focus to decorative arts as well as architecture. The artists of this movement believed that art was able to shine through handcraft and could be more fulfilling as if it was something that could be used every day. This movement had a major influence on literature and architecture, and an example of this influence can actually be seen in Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales from 1896 by William Morris. The text in this book is both lavish and elaborate, and art can actually be seen in the font and the page design. This style kind of causes the viewer to really have to take in the entirety of the page while they're reading. However, it was not super popular for some people because the intricacy of the design kind of made reading the book a little too difficult. And although it was a new take on art and was very beautifully done, in order for something to be used constantly by people, it kind of has to have an air of simplicity, I think. So I think the beauty of the art kind of collided with the people's desire to be able to do things in the most efficient way. It was pretty, but it was a little too difficult to really appreciate it as it should have been. But the arts and crafts movement was able to work very well for architecture, just not really the decorative art part for some people. And last but not least, it's probably my favorite, is the Neo-Impressionism time period. Neo-Impressionism was able to use the science of optics and color to create a new technique of painting. This new technique allowed paintings to be more luminous by juxtaposing colors to make a shimmering surface, which heightened the viewer's visual sensation. Artists of this time period wanted these paintings to depict everyday life while also showing the growth of people along with their environment. And things were constantly changing around them, so the artists were wanting to be able to show that change while having something that is unchanging. Because, once you finish a painting, it's pretty much done, you can't really change it. But times and things are changing so constantly. So for them to be able to show change in something unchanging, I think is really cool. 2 techniques that are super well known in the Neo-Impressionism time are divisionism, which is kind of where the artist will put patches of pigment together but not blend them, which then kind of makes you blend it in your mind, it is called optical blending. The second technique is super similar to the first, and it is called pointillism, which also allows for optical blending, but instead of different pigments, it's different little points that aren't blended that you blend. So it's pretty neat. It was also popular for artists of this time to depict the working class, which then was able to raise attention to the social struggles taking place in and around the time. An example of the working class being depicted can be seen in the painting A Sunday Afternoon on Le Grand Chat by Georges Seurat. This painting shows the working class kind of escaping to the outdoors. This would typically be done like on a Sunday when they had the free time to do so. He was able to create this real life kind of effect by going to the park and studying people over the course of the 2 years that it took him to finish this painting. It's kind of my favorite because they're works of art that are able to raise awareness of social issues while still being able to be pleasing to the eye and not loud like how political art kind of later becomes. I think it's still something that you could like have in your house and be super pretty, but it's not like there's a deeper meaning. Like it's not super loud and like obvious. So in conclusion, there's obviously a lot of technological advancements that affect art, and how it's not only created but also perceived. But these three really stuck out to me because, they not only enabled a new way of creating and viewing art, like the flattened palettes in Japanism, as well as the optical blending of Neo-Impressionism, but they also became so prominent that they were not only able to influence other styles of art later on, but also raise questions about current social and political standings and issues. The questions I have for y'all are, how is art used to make a political statement before the popularization of propaganda? Or was it not really used to make political statements? And explain. And then, why do y'all think the artists were wanting to depict real life in their works? Thank you.